Hello, welcome to the Chicago Youth Video Magazine. I'm Isidro Escobar. Can you guess what came first? Radio or television? If you said television, you're wrong. Radio came first. The very first radio show was aired in the 1800s. Television in the early 1920s. People were glued to their radios. Now when we put these two together, we call them the media. Chicago has always been on the cutting edge of the media industry. However, as history shows, the media was marred by the institution of segregation that impaired the progress of so many minorities. Minorities would not be heard or seen on the radio or television until the late 30s. Today, they are numerous and growing.
Hi, I'm the virtual narrator. As Isidro just explained, we're at WVON Radio, where they're about to present our first video article, Blacks and Latinos in Chicago Media, in Spanish, African-Americanas y Latinos en Chicago Media, to their listening audience. Anthony, our roving reporter, has already started interviewing the production engineer, Lakeisha Gray Sewell. Let's join them.
As a producer, what I do is I compile topics and issues that affect the community, the Black community, that move us, that inform us, that empower us, and just things that we talk about around the dinner table with our friends, and bring that to the radio so that others can call in and then learn from it and become empowered from it.
How did you become a producer?
Wow, I attended Southern Illinois University of Carbondale, and I majored in radio and television productions. I went out to Hollywood, and I at the time there was a show on. Keenan Ivory Wayans had a show on called The Keenan Ivory Wayans Show, which was a variety show. I interned there. I interned on a Family Channel show, and I just really loved. I saw firsthand what went into actually putting on the show, and I knew that it wasn't actually the people who were holding the microphones or the people who were in front of the camera who were really making it happen. And I learned that was the producer and the writers.
Is it hard to juggle this career and your family life?
Oh, definitely. First of all, let me just say that coming out of college, and I get emotional talking about this, but coming out of college, I was pregnant. My husband and I had our first child at that time, and I just thought to myself, oh my God, it's over. I can't try to get into my field of study because I am going to be a mom. I'm not going to put this second. And so when I did that, I stayed home with my children for the first 3 years of their lives before putting them into daycare. And I was teaching, actually, substitute teaching, and then I was actually teaching in a classroom. And it just got to the point where I was compromising my students and taking for granted the job that I had as a 9 to 2 and going home. And I really, the passion for what I do as a producer and a writer was calling.
Richard sat in live at the round table as WVON hosts Matt and Perry rolled out the topic.
We're in the studio live. Alicia Tate is with us. She is editor and publisher of the Chicago Reporter, a nonprofit investigative magazine which focuses on race and poverty issues and is published by the Community Renewal Society.
And we
Alicia.
also have Sylvia Ewing. Hey. And I have such a relationship with Sylvia. Sylvia, you used to have a show here.
You're my first producer.
I was Sylvia's first producer. And Sylvia...
What was that like?
We were okay, we're both lively guys.
Also joining us on the live line from Telemundo, the news director there, is Esteban Crestes. Esteban, welcome to WVON.
Thank you. How you doing?
Hi, Esteban. It's a pleasure to talk to you. I also wanted to mention, too, that we have the Applied Arts and Science Technical Academy Radio and Television Department. Their students are here today. And as I said, it's multiracial. You get Blacks and Latinos, and they're here to really get a good bird's eye view of what it's like. And we're going to be talking about Blacks and Latinos in the media. And Alicia and Sylvia, I can't think of two better people to talk about this. Of course, with Alicia dealing with issues of race so much in the Chicago Reporter. And I remember years ago there were several different features about Blacks and Latinos in the media. you weren't there at the time, but where do you see Blacks and Latinos today in the media? There are some people that say that there is definitely a shortage of black men particularly, in print.
Right.
There's a big shortage of black men on television, and there's a canning of talent when it comes to radio. They don't use local talent, and Blacks and Latinos are mostly left out of that, getting in those markets. What do you think about
Well,
that?
I think the situation we have is that things are better, but things aren't as good as they need to be. And I think what you have now is a situation where you've got a lot of prominent Blacks and Latinos in media organizations at all across the country, but not at all levels. You still don't have the representation at the top.
That's right.
That when you look at who is actually making the call, who's even editing stories, who's making hiring decisions, we are still really left out of the picture there. And so what happens is, what's happening now, a phenomenon I see is a situation where the one sort of prominent black leader who's been in that newsroom for a long time, who's paid their dues, when they get fed up or when they leave, a whole bunch of people go with them. That we don't have a critical enough mass for many younger folks, lots of younger folks, to feel as though they have somebody that understands them, that gets their issues, that they're not going to have to argue to get the stories about their community, in print or on the air.
See, most radio stations have a president and general manager. Our roving reporter Shantae Bailey took time to meet WVON's head lady in charge. Let's meet her.
Hi, my name is Shantae Bailey. We are here with Melanie Span Cooper. How are you today? Can you tell me your title here at WVON?
I'm the president and general manager.
How did you get started in radio?
Well, my father is a legendary disc jockey here in the city of Chicago. And towards the end of his career, he and another gentleman who he had worked with here at the station decided that they would file to own their own radio station.
Does your father still work here?
Yes, he does. He doesn't have to, but it's keeping him alive. My father is 73 years old, and he has never broken his schedule. So he just does it because he loves it.
Is it hard for women to own radio? They own radio stations?
Yes, it is very hard. This is a very male-dominated industry. It remains that way. And there was a time many years ago when you had individuals who owned radio stations, but radio stations have become big business, and you find a lot of companies that own radio stations now. So with that, you find less and less independent females or women owning radio stations.
What advice would you give young people who want to have a radio career?
I would give them, I think this opportunity that you have to sit here and interview me, to be part of the class in the school that you are part of, is so important. What I've learned in this business is that it is less about what you know, it's more about who you know. So I would advise young people to get out and network in different organizations, journalist organizations, radio industry organizations, and network and meet people, because these jobs are few and far in between, and they're mostly given by relationship.
And today we're here talking to an engineer. And your name is, sir?
Wayne Fields. It's good to meet you, Ulysses.
Okay.
Good. Glad to have you.
Can you tell me a little more about yourself?
Well, I'm production manager here at WVON. I've been here since 1983. Was on the air, actually, from about 83 up to about 2000. So now I'm in production management, and everything on the radio that you hear in between the host, the commercials, the jingles, and the kickers and stingers, and everything that you hear in between that dictates the sound around the host. That's what I do. I sit here all day and cut commercials, create spots, and create different things to make the station sound good.
So What advice would you give students that is trying to get into the business that you are now?
Oh wow, it's getting tougher to get into radio. It's getting tougher. You've got to be persistent. There was a time in this business where it was who you knew. It was what you knew. What could you bring to the table of the radio station that could help move the station along? Now it's straight up who you know.
I see our young colleague wants to jump in.
Yeah, that's
Richard,
what I
your
was
school,
jumping to.
I mean, it obviously is a integrated school.
Oh, it sure is. We have a mixture. We have a mixture of blacks and Hispanics and a few whites up in there. Whites. Excuse me. I was wondering, because we were speaking about hip hop and young people, I was wondering, are there like any job opportunities out here in this field? Is this field hard to get in? My question is, once I come out of college, I go into this field, am I going to have a job? What's going to happen?
Well, that's what the young people I know.
Does a guy like Richard get to that position?
Well, let me add a couple things. I think one of the ways, Richard, you and other friends of yours can get to that position is really to get involved with the associations, the professional associations, the local chapters of the Chicago Association of Black Journalists, the national organization. I got scholarships through those organizations. I got internships through those. I got to work at the Boston Globe for a summer, thanks to the National Association of Black Journalists, which is it was a paid internship that I would have never been able to get probably had I not had that connection. So I would really encourage you to look at those associations and support them and get involved, because a lot of how we get jobs in this industry is based on the relationships we have with other people of color in the industry. So if you want to be a broadcaster, you should come and you should hang out with Matt and Perry and say, hey, what do you need? Can I watch you do your show?
Hey, Richard, you can start your internship now. Man, grab me a cup of coffee, will you?
Richard's really doing a good job here. He's after a job. What do you think?
Focus on your writing. Focus on your writing.
That's so
Whether
important.
you're going into broadcast or print or television or radio, you will need to know how to write.
During a little break in programming, Richard had a chance to meet Matt and Perry.
Hi, this is Richard Wilson. I'm reporting for the Chicago Youth Video Magazine, and I have the lovely Miss Perry, Mr. Matt.
Hey.
And these are the voices of WVON. How do you prepare for your topics?
Well, we have a programming meeting once a week where we go over our topics for the next week, and we kind of throw them out on the table, all the topics out on the table, and we pick the good ones, we throw away the bad ones, and then we work from there. And we have a producer, Lakeisha Gray Sewell, who you guys saw, and she puts the shows together for us on a daily basis.
I was wondering, how is it working here?
Well, WVON, it's just a wonderful place to live. Because I feel like I'm living here someplace. It's a wonderful place to work. One of the reasons why I enjoy being here so much is that it is definitely the voice of the community, and it is also the conscience of the community, and specifically the black community. And the service that we provide to our listeners and to the community at large is unmatched by any other radio station or any type of media outlet, black or white, within the city of Chicago.
Meanwhile, our search for African Americanas y Latinos in Chicago media, or Blacks and Latinos in Chicago media, took us down to Channel 5's NBC studios to interview Telemundo's news director, Senor Jimmy Delgado, reporting.
My name is Jimmy Delgado, and our search for Black and Latinos in Chicago media has brought us to Columbus Drive in NBC studio. We're here with Esteban Crestes. Hola, señor Crestes, ¿cómo está?
Muy bien. ¿Cómo está todo?
How did Telemundo start?
How Telemundo started? Yes. Telemundo as a network, it started about 12, 13 years ago. And what happened is, prior to that, there were a number of stations throughout the United States. Like there was one in New York that's been around for 40 years. This one in Chicago has been for almost 30. And they were like separate stations, separate entities. And about 13 years ago or so, people got together and they formed a network. So they get the station from New York, and from Chicago, and all the major markets in the U.S. together under one umbrella, one organization, which is Telemundo. And then about 2 years and a half ago, 3 years ago, Telemundo was purchased by NBC. So now we're part of the NBC family.
So what do you do in Telemundo?
I'm the news director in Telemundo Chicago. And what is that? Well, I'm in charge of the news department. I'm in charge of everyone that works here. I'm also in charge of what goes on the air. The decisions. This is where the buck stops. If there is a problem, I have to answer.
So what are you most proud of?
Of the program that we put, the information that we put out on the air for our people. But this is our set, which is, and it's usually lit. Now it's a little dark because it's daytime. The anchors don't come in until.
So, this is where Telemundo reporters broadcast. So we had an opportunity to walk around Telemundo studios with the news director, Esteban Creste. Esteban gave us an opportunity to see exactly where news productions take place. Look, here's the studio here.
Oh, you're going to do the interview. Hey, okay. I'm not used to that. All right.
Today we're standing with
Anita Padilla, NBC5.
Can you tell us a little bit what you do?
I'm a news reporter and also an anchor on the weekends. I'm the weekend morning anchor, and that includes obviously reading from a teleprompter. But in addition to that, I do reporting on the street.
How long have you been working here?
I've been at Channel 5 for 8 years now. However, I've been a news reporter for, I hate to say this, let's see, 5, 8, 7, 10, about 14 years.
Do you enjoy it?
I love it. It's a great job. I mean, every day is different. Pay is great, and you get to meet a lot of different people, and it's a lot of fun.
What kind of advice would you like to give students?
Well, I think if you're thinking about going into television, I think one of the things you need to think about is whether or not it's for you. The television industry, while it might seem really glamorous, it's not exactly all that it appears to be. For example, a reporter, you're out in the street. If you're a photographer, you're out in the rain, in the snow, and you're fighting the elements, and you're trying to put your story together. And so you put the story together in what? So maybe you get on the air 15 seconds in the beginning and then 15 seconds at the end of your story. So what did you get, 30 seconds for a whole day's of work? That might be part of what people think is the glamour. But there's a lot of demands. I mean, you've got to be able to, and you think about this if you want to get into television, is you got to think about whether or not, if you're a woman, how's your man going to feel if you're making more money than him? If you're a man, if you have a woman, is she only dating you for your money? And the other thing is, too, you have to think about your family. Because this is the kind of job that they demand your time. And breaking news happens.
So this is Ricky Vento. He's been with Telemundo for how many years?
Oh, I've been here almost 19 years.
19 years.
I've been here since 85.
And he's a producer?
I'm a producer, and basically I meet with them every morning. We go over what's going on today in news, and then we get a rundown together. My job is to get his ideas, and we get ideas together, and then we put it in a rundown. So when the crew comes at 2:45, technical crew that is, we know exactly what we want exactly for a newscast. Of course, we tell the reporters where they need to go, etc., etc.
These camera people are really intense. Go AASTA! Chicago Youth Video Magazine roving cameramen had an opportunity to see production at work. They had an opportunity to meet cameramen, news reporters. Hey, I think they're after a job too. Way to network, guys! Boy, did I learn a lot today. I hope you did too. Hasta luego. See you again soon on the Chicago Youth Video Magazine. Back to you, Isidro.
I hope you enjoyed the show. Tune in next time when the Chicago Youth Video Magazine takes a look at the Garfield Austin community. I'm Isidro Escobar. See you later.